Hi, my name is Marco Ruiz Jr. I'm 30 years old. I have a beautiful wife named Angela Ruiz, and I have 3 children. My daughter, who's the oldest, is Aaliyah. Then my middle son is Matthew, and then the youngest is Jacob Ruiz. So at a young age, I grew up at home with my father, my mother, a young brother, a young sister. I was the oldest of 3. And at the time, my father was an alcoholic, very abusive. And so growing up, I grew up with the father wound. And at 14 years old, I was a full-blown drug addict going to an alternative school here in Katy. I knew I needed money, and all I knew how to do was to sell drugs. I dropped out of school, got a GED, and started hustling in the streets. By the time I was 17, my daughter was born, had a job, and also hustled on the side. My understanding of being a man was that I had to support them financially. So I did that. I supported them financially, but I was not there physically, emotionally, spiritually. I was not a good father. Me and my wife were on the edge of divorce. I was very aggressive and vulgarly, physically.
When we met, we were inseparable. Like, we were always talking, we were always trying to see each other. And as time grew, we just became kind of toxic in a way. Like, we were very codependent on each other. A lot of jealousy. We would get loud with each other. When we would have fights or argue, like, it was intense. We would get in each other's faces and, you know, just go back and forth with each other. Nobody would back down. I think we were having an argument in the living room. I can't remember what it was about, but we sent the kids upstairs and we were arguing, and he pulled out a gun in the middle of the argument, and I just looked at it, I was like, oh, that's where we're at right now. And he just set it down on the table. I don't know if it was a tactic to scare me, but it didn't work. But I was just like, this is just too much.
I believe that I got to a place where we were needing something greater in our lives. I had already threatened my wife's life. I had caught cases here in Harris County, so I was fighting some felony cases that could have sent me to prison for a long time.
So I was reaching out to our mentors, and we needed help, and they brought up the Wings of Life. And when that happened, it was probably on the table for a good 3 months before eventually he just kept slipping, and I'm like, I can't do this. I had to leave my house. I texted my mentor. I told her I need to leave. And when I did, I packed my bags and I left for about a week, and I did not answer any phone calls from him or anything. It needed to be that way. I knew I couldn't enable it anymore to where he knew he can pull me back in, because he could pull me back in. I loved him so much that all I wanted to do was just be there for him. And I did. I left. And after, I think it was 4 days in, I get a text message from Pastor Roger, and he said that my husband reached out to him and told him that he'll go to the Wings.
I ended up asking for help after being suicidal, homicidal, and I made a decision and said, Lord, I'm going all in. I don't know what that looks like, but I trust in you. Pastor Brandon Sanders opened the door. He had gone through the program himself, and he encouraged me and empowered me and helped me make the decision to say yes. And God began to use the Wings of Life for my benefit. And not only just for my benefit, but to benefit my family, my wife, my children, and all the people around me. I went through the program, 90 days. I had 4 services a day, and I came home on fire for God. So yes, the Lord used the Wings of Life to restore my family. The Lord used the Wings of Life to restore my home. He used the Wings of Life to restore the life that God intended for myself. Since coming home from the Wings of Life, I've been gifted with the ability to preach and teach and minister to men, restoring families. I've been gifted with the ability to help host a life group, and also to help Pastor Roger lead the recovery group that started the process of getting us connected to the Wings of Life. So I just want to give thanks to the Wings of Life, all the ministers and the servants that are there, giving their time and supporting us. I thank you, Pastor Brandon Sanders, and your wife, Miss Carrie, for opening the door and making an available opportunity for me to come to the Wings of Life and to receive healing and to restore the life that God intended for myself, my wife, and for my children. It's been an amazing ride. We love y'all so much, and we just thank you for everything you're doing and everything you're going to continue to do.
Just thank you. I mean, I have my husband back. I have my best friend. I love everything that you guys stand for. Thank you, Pastor Brandon. Thank you, Miss Carrie, for nurturing us through this. And I think all of the ministers that have gone through this program as well and are now pouring into other people who walk through those doors. It is an amazing place. Just thank you, Wings of Life.